The following program is a Nighthawk Network presentation.
I love speaking freely so the masses can hear what I have to say about different topics that plague my mind every day. Speaking freely with Msgigo is a show where I'm going to let all my thoughts come out and you can give your opinion too, 'cause you're speaking freely. Not only will I be speaking freely, I will be sharing my stories too, that will strike up a conversation. Speaking freely with Msgigo is a show where I'm going to let all my thoughts come out and you can give your opinion too, 'cause you're speaking freely. Come join me, let's have some fun on Speaking Freely with Msgigo.
Welcome everyone to Speaking Freely with Ms. Giga. So our topics tonight is the first one is co-signing the bullshit. Second one is what hurts more, physical cheating or emotional cheating. And then for our last and final topic or segment is a what would you do moment. So I'm gonna give you the scenario right now before we get into the first topic. So this is for the what would you do moment. Your friend comes to you and tells you she had a one night stand. Then she proceeds to tell you she's pregnant by said one night stand, but wants to tell her boyfriend, or it could be her husband, that they're expecting. What would you do? Would you tell her boyfriend or husband, or would you keep it to yourself and say that's their business? That's something they have to deal with. What would you do? And here's a caveat to that. What if the person she's dating is someone you're related to? Now just ponder on that. And we're going to get into the first topic, which is co-signing the bullshit. And I've talked about this many a times when I was on TikTok. And I call it co-signing the bullshit because this is where when something happens, no matter what the situation is, that the person who's in the wrong gets the praise. Just think about that. The person in the wrong gets the praise. Now, if you haven't heard, recently, comedian Corey Holcomb punched a female comedian in the face. Right? If you haven't heard this story, it's all over the internet. So I don't know if they just finished the comedy set and they was outside the comedy club, but I seen the video. In the video, she's in his face, and I don't know what she said to him because it's no sound to the video, but you see him go and cold cock her in the face. Now, the people in the comments said because she put his finger in his face that she deserved what she got. And this is what I mean by co-signing the bullshit. No man or woman deserves to be hit for no apparent reason Just because she had her finger in your face don't mean you go punch her in the face. But the comments were co-signing his bullshit, what he did. Like she was in the wrong for putting her finger in his face. What did she say to him to make him want to punch her in the face? I don't know because there's no sound to the video, but whatever she said still doesn't warrant for him to punch her in the face. He needs to show restraint. I can say you a bum, so because I said you a bum, you gonna punch me in the face? That don't that doesn't warrant for me to get punched in the face. If you upset because a woman said something to you that offended you, that you could just walk away and be like, "That's not me." You should never get to that point where you want to put your hands on somebody just because of what they said, or even if they put their finger in your face. Just walk away. You be the bigger person. And when the video footage come out, they show that then she really was in the wrong. But the video footage shows her standing there in your face, and you just go and throw cock her in the face. I feel that is terribly wrong. But this is what I mean by co-signing the bullshit when the people in the comments of seeing said video are blaming her. She's the victim. It doesn't matter what she says, she's still a victim. She didn't deserve to be punched in the face. See, that's the thing. That's co-signing the bullshit. So what you think of that, E?
Now, understand that I follow Corey Holcomb. I am a fan of his comedy, not necessarily a fan of how he conducts his overall business. Now, for those of you familiar, Corey Holcomb has a YouTube show that he does every Tuesday. 5150, Corey Holcomb,
Mm-hmm.
basically, where he promotes a lot of wild, outlandish things that he often says. Okay. Usually every few weeks, he is into it with somebody. Now, here's my understanding of the part of the story that a lot of people may not know. According to people familiar with the situation, some of them, because again, I cannot verify whether this is the truth or not. This young lady, Christina Payne, who is a comedian in her own right, has apparently been popping up at several of Corey's shows. And during that time, she is heckling him during the shows. Now, I don't know what led to this happening, but apparently this has been going on for months now. Now, apparently,
Mm.
according to the story that I heard, this particular night, Corey had had enough. He got tired of her popping up, talking ish, and basically, when they was outside the club, he confronted her on what she had been saying. So at that point, Christina basically said stuff that kind of pushed him over the edge, and that led to him doing what he did. Now, let me be very clear and plain. I cannot, nor will I ever condone any man putting his hand on any woman because that is just how I was raised and taught. Okay. I understand there may be a scenario where you would consider it. Me, myself, I would not. In an ideal world, um, well, truthfully, in an ideal world, walk away. Because in an ideal world, we really shouldn't be putting our hands on each other, period. Male, female, or otherwise. Keep your hands to yourself. That's what I was taught when I was a little kid. You know, always work out that way, but that was that. But according to what's being said, is that when Christina pressed charges against Corey, there were several people who popped up as witnesses to say otherwise, that no, it was actually her that provoked him, not the other way around. And that he basically was self defending himself in these actions. Now, again, if you know Corey's show and how he talks about women, you can see that his respect for them overall is lacking. Okay, even though he does have a co-host on the show, Ice-T's former wife is Darlene. She is one of his co-hosts, and he does seem to have respect for her to a degree. But there's been moments even then where he kind of disrespects her and how he talks on the show. So, in terms of co-signing the BS, no. No. In this case, I cannot. Corey is his own worst enemy. He has often talked about the gatekeepers in Hollywood and how that's what's holding him down and so on and so forth, even though he is a successful comedian in his own right. But the way he conducts his business is what makes what went on a BS situation. But in terms of that, if this was basic person A, basic person B, no. Nope. Not co-signing that BS at all. Never put your
Not
hand.
I wouldn't co-sign it either.
Period.
The video I saw, there was a man that jumped in, and him and Corey started fighting because he didn't co-sign. That's when you know he's not co-signing the bullshit. That he put himself out there because you don't know what Corey could have did to him, or if anybody else would have jumped in and they would have jumped him for trying to protect her. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, yeah. Again, part of the story that wasn't recorded, or at least they ain't shown that yet, was according to what happened next was people jumped Corey and they beat that ass. They beat that ass on proper
I
life.
didn't see that part. All I saw was him punch her, and then the guy jumped in and hit
Yeah,
Corey,
apparently
and they
several
started
other
going
folks
at it.
jumped in as well, and they beat Corey down.
And see what I'm saying? Violence begetting violence. If he wouldn't have punched her, he could have walked away, and that would have been that. And then if she ever show up at one of his comedy shows again, he could have just be like, security, escort her out. If the comedy club has security, he'd be like, security, escort her out. He ain't got no hands on her. So y'all can give your opinions in the comments on this topic. And before we get into the next topic, I'm gonna tell you the scenario again for the what would you do moment. Your friend calls you and tells you she had a one night stand. Then she proceeds to tell you she's pregnant by said one night stand. It also tells you that she's going to tell her man, her husband, whoever, that they are expecting, meaning telling him the baby is his, knowing it ain't. Because she don't want to get caught for having that one night stand. What would you do in that moment? Would you say something to the husband, the boyfriend, or keep it to yourself because that's their business? But then here's, like I said before, here's the caveat. What if she's dating or married to someone you're related to? What would you do? We're going to take a commercial break, and we're going to get into the second topic. So y'all can always leave your opinions to the topics in the comments, and we'll show your answers to the questions. But now we're gonna take that commercial break. When we come back, we're gonna talk about physical cheating and emotional cheating. Which one hurts more?
If you're building your dream from scratch, mic in one hand, hustle in the other, this one's for you. Road to Stardom Network and Nighthawk Network present a podcast for the indie by the indie, all genres, all grinds. From hip-hop to metal, jazz to trap, we're breaking boundaries. And it's not just artists. Entrepreneurs, creatives, and self-made bosses, we see you. We're giving you the spotlight. This ain't mainstream, this is your stream. Coming soon. Be ready.
as I wake up in the morning, I'ma get a bag. Get a bag, yeah, I'ma get a bag. Long as I wake up in the morning, I'ma get a bag. Get a bag, yeah, I'ma get a bag. Long as I wake up in the morning, I'ma get a bag. Get a bag, yeah, I'ma get a bag. Long as I wake up in the
Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk.
All right, and we're back. So I'm asking this question: what hurts more, physical cheating or emotional cheating? Because I see when people say, "Oh, I was cheated on," they're more upset about the physical, and they confront the other woman or they confront the other man. But I never see no one really be that upset when it comes to emotional cheating. I always see the woman want to confront the other woman for being with her man. They don't want to confront the man for causing the situation. I don't never see nobody really get mad over over the emotional. I see them more mad over the physical. So E, which one hurts more for you, emotional or the physical?
Okay, I got to kind of think this one through a little bit. Now, it really depends on what type of relationship we talk. Okay, if you are in what is supposed to be a committed relationship where y'all both have established I'm only with you and you only with me and nothing else should come between us, nothing and nobody. Physical and mental cheating could be different things. Okay, now obviously physical is pretty much what it is. Some people would say, okay, but what if it was physical cheating but there was no intercourse, there was just sad stuff? Bottom line is, if at some point your part of your body touches their part of their body in a way that your mate will see as inappropriate, that is physical cheating. Okay, so whether that's just y'all was hugged up in a bed, or y'all was giving each other face to the face, or y'all was giving each other face to the lower place, not intercourse, but still that, in my mind, that is physical cheating. Coach B
Mm-hmm.
is checking into the show. What's going on, Road? And
Hey,
Big
Coach
E.
V.
What up, Coach? Okay, now, then there is the mental side of the story. The mental cheating, okay? That is where there was no physicality involved, but things were said and done to where it goes against this bond you have created with one another. Now, here's my thing. If y'all have not had that discussion where y'all have established that it's just me and you against the world, a lot of this is moot, okay? I
Mm-hmm.
don't feel it's fair that you are upset with someone if you have not established that y'all are together. And I find that to be a case quite often, actually, where that discussion was never truly had. It's just because you are with that person every day and y'all start to lay up on a continuous basis and whatnot. In your mind, you thinking, oh, we together. We a couple. We that. But in the mind of the other person, they never established that you just the main person they like to do these things with. You're not the only one. So when this comes up, they like, yeah, but see, we not together. Even though in that person's mind, that might be the case. Now, the other thing is I always try to think of this in terms of different types of relationships. Because everything in this day and age of 2026 is not just man and woman. There's woman, woman,
Mm-hmm.
and transsexual, so on and so forth. Now,
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to that, I feel like all of it is the same. As long as y'all have established that we are bonded and we are together, just you and I, physical and mental cheating is one and the same. Now, what is worse for me, I feel, is the physical cheating. Because remember, in an ideal world where we all is Christian like and love each other and whatnot, when we come together in some type of intercourse, foreplay, whatever, it's with the understanding, okay, this is me showing how much I physically love you to you by using my body upon your body. Okay, when you have established that as part of your relationship, at that point, you should feel like there should be nobody else. Okay, you should. But then that goes into the whole: are we making love or are we effing? Are we smurfing? You know what I'm really saying.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I try not to use the profanity on the air, y'all. Um, Here's the thing: once we became physical, and our bodies have bonded as one like that, if you are then that next day after we done had the discussion that okay, we together now, and you done messed around with somebody else and put your body on their body, that hurt me a lot worse. Because that meant that, yeah, that bond that we supposedly had on that night meant nothing to you. As far as the mental go, yeah, you talking to other people, I love you and all that and blah, they splee, but you ain't never did nothing. Them just words. That's just game. And in the end, if you're dealing with somebody like that, it hurt, but it don't hurt as much as it does when you know I done put my mouth right there, and now the next day you done put your mouth somewhere else. Yeah, that hurt worse to me.
So you're more on the physical. I say for me it's 50-50. It's 50-50 because you have emotions. There's emotions in the situation. Because the person could be telling you things to make it seem like it's just you and them. So that's where the emotions kick in. And they could be just saying it just to get the physical, but still in all, for me, it's 50-50 because, well, more, I say a little bit more emotional for me than physical. And I'm going to share a story of mine where I was dating someone and they cheated, but I didn't know. And I found out, and the person said to me she didn't mean anything. He said she didn't mean anything. She kissed me, and I'm like, she didn't mean anything. Like, if you know, I put it this way: if you know you're in a relationship with someone, if another woman or man tries to holler at you, you know to stop it. Especially if you know you in a serious relationship, you know to stop it. But to let someone physically touch you, knowing you're in a relationship, that's not good. And then as and I was like, okay, I'm listening, and I'm just listening to them tell their story. I don't think when he told me the story, I don't think I was really hurt that much, but I was kind of hurt because we kept dealing with each other. That's the I think that's like the where the we get mad at cheating, period. We get mad, but then we keep dealing with the person who done the cheating. So how mad are we really when you think about it? Because if you're still dealing with the person who cheated on you, how mad were you really about the cheating. And then it had me thinking because this person I was dealing with said, I don't have any children. When I met them, he said he didn't have any children. That his ex cheated on him and got pregnant by somebody else, and they wound up getting back together, and he was playing daddy to her son that she had with somebody else, knowing he wasn't the daddy. He was playing daddy. And I was like, I get it. You want to be a stand up man, even though it's not your child. You want to be a stand up man and be that father figure for that child because the real father ain't there. I get that. And so as we're dealing with each other, I see a picture of him and the child, but it's not the same child he told me about. So I'm thinking, oh, maybe he just took a picture with, could be a niece, could be a nephew, that he took a picture with, and he just, have it around the house. Come to find out, he did have a child. So now that I had my mind going, did he have it before we were dating or while we were dating? And I kept going through my mind. That kept going through my mind. And then I was like, it had. So I was like, okay, it probably was before. There's nothing to get mad at because if it was before, there's no reason for me to be mad if it was before we started dating. He just didn't tell me, or maybe he didn't know, and then she told him, later. I'm just thinking like that. Then when I finally found out that he had a child, and then he said how old the child was, I was counting back to when we started dating, and it kind of fit to when we started dating. So I'm like, that hurt me more than the cheating itself. The fact that we had a discussion of having, I didn't say right away to have children, but we had the discussion, and he said yes to having children, and then to find that out, I think that part is what hurt more than the actual cheating. That's is the fact that you even though we had a discussion and you go and have a child with someone else. I think for any man or woman in a situation like that, I think they would be more hurt by the person having a child with someone else than the actual cheating. And that's in my case, I was hurt more by that because you can't tell the person you're with. You can't have a discussion and say, oh yeah, we can have kids or we could get married, and then you turn around and like you say, oh yeah, we could get married, and then turn around and marry somebody else after telling them y'all could get married. Like that's gonna hurt more to that person than the actual than the actual cheating. And that's in my case, that hurted more than the actual cheating because it's like when everything came to a head, I didn't feel nothing. Normally, most people with cheating, they feel something that makes them be mad and want to curse the person out, but I didn't feel nothing. That's the crazy part in this situation. But that's why I say for me, it's kind of 50-50, but more on the physical than more on the mental than the physical. As plus, if we established we're together.
Okay, now keep in mind, on multiple occasions, unfortunately, I've been in a scenario where the person that I was seeing, I walked in on them physically cheating on me as I witnessed it with my own two eyes, live and direct. Now, I know most people say if that was me, I would have did this, and this. Now, I did not do these things, okay? In the first scenario, this was somebody who had basically gave me a key to their house just a week before. And here I am walking in their house, walking back to the room, and there they is doing the do. And stood there for a couple minutes, and they did not even recognize that I was there. So I politely walked back out the room, put my key on her desk, and I have not spoken to her since. The fact that, after a few days of trying to call, they didn't contact me no more, and they literally live 2 blocks down from me, so they know where my house was and all that. Yeah, that let me know that that was the right move because they didn't really care about me. In the second scenario, I was there living with the other person involved and basically found out one night when supposedly said person that I was seeing was living with us and sleeping downstairs, but here I hear them making the ooh ah sounds to as yet. And yeah, found out that way. So yeah, that wasn't good either. But again, I felt like those situations hurt more because you playing in my face. You didn't say, okay, I care about you, blah, 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 blah. But then here we are in a scenario where you cheating and you doing it, particularly that second where I'm in the house. And yet you still was doing it and was loud about it, as if to say, I want you to hear what's going on. Yeah, that hurt worse to me.
In the situation, what I'm like got me thinking right now is like, what did the dude say to her to get her to go that route? What did dude in both situations? What did the other dude say to them to go that route? Especially when you in a relationship, you giving keys to the you telling me you that you want me to come come live with you. I come live with you, and you do that. What did he say that got you digmatized that you would go that route? And if he didn't say, if it was nothing he said, because I get it, because you know how women fantasize, they see like Idris Elba or like another fine looking celebrity, and they fantasize and say, or if I had him, or you know what I'm saying? Like I get it, women do that. We fantasize and say, oh, if I had such and such. But to actually go through with it, if you had the chance knowing you with someone, is like crazy to me because you can't turn around and say once you get caught, you can't turn around and say I love you. How you love me if you was with someone else? That don't that don't make sense to me. I think that's
Okay, in my case, the first one, I don't know the answer to that because I chose not to find out the answer. I felt like, okay, at some point, that person really wanted me to know, they knew where I lived. You know what I'm saying?
mhm,
I can hang up on you. It's kind of hard for me to not hear you out when you at my door.
mhm.
Now, in the second scenario, it was told that, okay, I didn't mean for it to happen. It just kind of happened. And that I wasn't buying. As the years
I
went
wouldn't
on,
buy it either.
I think it was more or less that she was kind of messing with us both, but she determined that she would go further with that person than myself. Because keep in mind, in the end, she ended up marrying that person. They was together until the day he died. So, kind of hard for me to really be mad per se. When in the end, that's how it ended up. Because clearly there was things about her that I didn't know that clearly he did, and that made their bond stronger than ours. So that was that. But But in the end, like I said, knowing how I am with the person I care about physically, to know that they basically disregarded that and dealt with somebody else on that level, yeah, that's what do it for me. That I can't.
Hmm. I'm, I mean, because you know they the question's been asked: can you be in love with two people at the same time? That question has been asked, and some people have said yes, you can. Some people say playing how they love the two in different ways, and it's like who? But you have to choose. You're gonna have to eventually. You're gonna have to choose which one you want more, because once the other person finds out there's another person in the mix, they're gonna leave you alone unless they only want you in that physical way. Then they don't care about the other person being in the mix. That's what I think. They don't care if the other person's in the mix if they only want you in a physical way. But yeah, for me, like I said, it's 50-50. I would say 50. And now I'm thinking about it, I'm like, it's 50-50, but I haven't been in a relationship so long that I don't know if it would affect me in that way, because I ain't been in one in so long. So if you just tuned in, we're speaking about which hurt more, the physical or mental cheating, physical or emotional cheating, which is mental cheating. Which one hurts more? That's what we're talking about right now. And if you missed the what would you do moment question or scenario, it is your friend tells you she had a one night stand. And then she also tells you she's pregnant by said one night stand. And then persists to tell you, after she tells you all of that, she persists to tell you that she's going to tell her man or her husband that they're expecting, meaning have him thinking he's the father to the baby she's having with her one night stand. What would you do in that moment? Will you tell the boyfriend or the husband, or would you say it was not my business and don't say nothing at all? But here's the caveat to that. What if the person that she's dating or married to is someone you're related to? Now what would you do? So we're gonna take a commercial break and we're gonna get into that what would you do moment. And I'm gonna give you my opinion on this situation.
Two new radio stations hit the net, Road to Stardom Radio and eBuck Beats Radio. Check us out on rdoai.com/rtsr or eBuck88 to hear great music created by us. You won't be disappointed.
Hello, hello, hello. It's another glorious day, my T-Sippers, and you know what time it is. I hope you have all of your comforts together because it's time to dish tea. And you're dishing darlings with Big Meat.
Can't wait. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat.
Darling.
And we are back. Now, you just heard me give you the scenario to the what would you do moment. in my opinion, in this situation, I am that type of person that, I mind my business, but I can't, I will talk to my friend and have them tell. Instead of me going to their mate and telling, I will have them, I will have a serious talk with them and tell them to tell their mate that they had a one night stand and that they're pregnant by the one night stand. I'm not one of those people that be like, oh, let me mind my business. That's their business. Because, like I said in the caveat, if the person is someone that's related to me, I'm going to lose cool points with my relative. And me and my relative ain't going to be speaking no more because I know the situation. And they're going to be like, why I didn't tell them. And see, in this situation, this is a female doing this. Men, yeah, men, they cheat and they get the other person pregnant, but it's not, they can't go and say, oh, we're expecting, because men don't have babies. So in that scenario, a man can't say, oh, we're expecting, because men don't have babies. So this is a woman's situation, and how are you gonna deal with the situation? Are you gonna tell the person they're dealing with, or you want to keep it to yourself and like let the chips fall where they may? It's gonna come out eventually. So, what you think in this scenario, E?
Okay, as always, I got to break it down and kind of analyze this. Now, break down the whole scenario, and I'll give you my bit by bit.
So, let's say you got a female best friend. She calls you and says, "E, I had a one night stand last night with so and so that we met at the club. Knowing she got a man, but I had a one night stand, and I found out I'm pregnant by said one night stand. But I don't want, let's say her man name is Jim. I don't want Jim to know, so I'ma tell Jim that we're expecting."
Okay. Now, me myself, that's a little too messy for my world. Okay. I do have female best friends. I do know a female best friend that did have a one night stand. Did not get impregnated, mind you, but basically it was somebody that person that they were seeing at the time definitely did not approve of.
Mm-hmm.
So it might as well just been just as bad. Now, because there is a child involved, okay, and I'm considering the child because at some point in the ideal world, that child will grow up to be an adult. Now, it's bad enough that you have to explain to that child that, yeah, you was not born out of love, you was born out of lust, and one night and some Tito's and what have you. But also, it would be far worse to have in that discussion. Oh, and by the way, the person you think is your dad is not your dad. I told him that because I didn't want him to kill me or kill us. So your real dad is this dude that I let hit one night, and I would not want you to put yourself in that because from that point on, your child should not have any further respect for you. Not because of what you did that night, but because you lied about it for however long that go on. Especially if you
Mm-hmm.
choose not to tell that child till they're an adult. Now, on the other hand, in this ideal world, if my child does not look like me early on, I'm very suspicious because I know several people who have raised children who end up not being theirs. And I don't want that fateful day at Thanksgiving dinner for it to come out that, yeah, man ain't yours, no way. Because usually always the case where somebody in the family know, usually that drunken uncle or auntie, and you don't want them to tell it, and they haven't until they hit the bottle that night or they got mad at you. You don't want nothing like that holding over your head. So what would I do? I would tell them, look, do not lie to that man. Let him know that is not his child. And deal with the consequences of your actions, whatever it may be.
So, like I said, with the caveat, if it was a relative,
One
that
of my
the person
relatives,
that the girl cheated on was messing with your relative.
now see again, okay, I understand that that's supposed to mean something. To me, it don't. Wrong is wrong. And the way I feel about the majority of my relatives, I got love for y'all, but some of y'all don't love. You remember the show. Last
Mm-hmm.
episode, I Am Nighthawk. Look it up on YouTube. So yeah, that's not gonna matter to me. I still feel the same way. Right is right, wrong is wrong.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, but there are people who say I'ma stay out of it, and they'll tell the person, tell it like you said, tell the truth, tell that person the truth, but still in all they'll go, but I'ma stay out of it. You should tell them the truth, but I'ma stay out of it.
Now,
And
let
see,
me throw this in the mix as well. Don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna be the person to tell it. That is not my
yeah,
business
I don't.
to tell. I
It's
wasn't
not
here
my
for
place
the
to.
receiving.
It's not my
Not
place
gonna
to
be there.
tell. It's not my place to tell. And see, for me, the kind of relatives I have, especially on my daddy's side, oh, ooh, they the ones on my daddy's side, you gotta tell. Like you have to tell because they mental ain't. You know how people say they mental ain't all there. On my daddy's side, the mental ain't all there. Cause I could see it now that they find out not by me but somebody else, and then to find out that I knew and I'm the cousin and I ain't tell them. I could see the explosion. I could see I'm getting phone calls. I could see the girl calling me and talking about your cousin's going crazy or whatever. I don't want those phone calls. Your cousin's going crazy. I don't want. And then now you put me in the position where now my cousin's mad at me because I knew. I mean, we still gonna have love for each other because we family, but for me to know that situation, didn't say nothing, and I could go and say, "Oh, it was not my place. I told her to tell you," but she just want to keep going with the lie, and now you stuck raising the child. Because when people think it's theirs, what they do is sign the birth certificate, and then the truth comes out, and now they're stuck for 18 years paying for a child that ain't theirs. All because a woman said that it was their baby. Yep. Yep, y'all. It's situations out there like this with girls, especially young girls. It's usually young girls who do this. A lot of young girls do this. They don't, because I can't see no grown woman who knows right from wrong to put their man in a situation like that. Especially if you saying you love them. If you know you had a one night stand and you know you pregnant by the one night stand, don't go lying to your man and saying this is, because you don't know. Some men are excited to have children because sometimes they have that because it took them so long to have children that they probably thought they couldn't have children. Some men think like that. Some women think like that too. And I'll have the talk with the friend, and if she's still persistent about just keeping that secret about the one night stand and still having this man think he's the father, I'm gonna have to tell, and I'm gonna have to stop being friends with that person Because if we're all, because you know how friends date friends, so if we're all friends, you're ruining my friendship with that person because I knew. And if this person's been a good friend to me, I wouldn't want to ruin the friendship. So I would have to tell. But a lot of y'all don't want to tell. You say you don't care. Now, last week we talked about the Tyreek Hill situation and about child support. And we might have more discussions like that where it's real life situations. We'll have like discussions like that about real life situations. And I will do in every episode I'm gonna have a what would you do moment. Every scenario will be different and you can give your opinion on the scenario. Like what would you do in that moment when the person tells you whatever the scenario is. And every topic is going to be different. Some might sound similar or may could coincide with one of the topics we already discussed. On Tuesday, we'll be doing the Indie Experience podcast, and my guest will be music producer Six Eyes. That's what he goes by, Six Eyes. That'll be my guest for the show. On Tuesday, that's the 26th, the Indie Experience podcast at 10 p.m. Same time as this one. And my guest will be Six Eyes. He's a music producer, also a radio host, former radio host. He's a man of many talents. And we're going to have a discussion with him about him being a music producer. He's also, well, I just recently found out he's also a songwriter. So we're going to be listening in the playlist segment. We're going to be listening to his songs that he's created. And then we're going to chop it up with him. And, do as we always do, drop them gems for the people who want to if you want to start a business, you're an artist, we're just going to be dropping gems that'll help you out in what you're trying to do. So it's that time to say goodbye to the people.
Hold on, Ro. Before you do that, let me again play this commercial for y'all. Then I got a couple things to discuss in regards to said commercial. Stand by, y'all.
2 new radio stations hit the net, Road to Stardom Radio and eBuck Beats Radio. Check us out on rdoai.com/RTSR or eBuck88 to hear great music created by us. You won't be disappointed.
All right, we are back. Now, of course, this is Road to Stardom speaking freely with Msgigo. Of course, that is Msgigo, also known as Road. We have just played the commercial to announce the 2 new radio stations that are part of the Nighthawk Network family. Uh, with that comes another announcement. The network known as the Nighthawk Network Radio, after several debates and thoughts and trying to get funding and all that, it has been determined that that has no longer been to the advantage of the network. So Nighthawk Network Radio is no longer part of the scenario. It is dead, y'all. I am killing that part of the network. Just could not work it out the way I needed to at this time. The good news is, thanks to my good friend Miss Gigo, known as Bro, we have found another platform to play music for you. Now, because it does not have the licensing of said Live 365 stations, we will not probably be playing a lot of music you are familiar with. And that is on purpose. So I will have Ro discuss her station, and I will tell you a little bit about my new station. Go ahead, Ro.
So on it's the station the platform we're using is called radio. They just took out the A, so they spell it RDIOAI. And so I came across it and said, you know what, let me check it out. Because I like doing radio, I miss doing radio. And so I checked it out. And It's just like how Live 365 is, where you can make your playlist and set the date for when you want to air set playlist, and you can go live with through microphone and talk to the people. People could come, they could chat with you while you're live because it has where people who's listening can leave messages, and they also have it where the listeners, you can have it where they have a listening. I I wouldn't say chat, but where you have a block just for the listeners, like a subscription type of thing. But I was like, I don't need a subscription for the listeners. Just let them listen the way they want to listen. And so, since me and E been creating music through AI, that's what you're going to be hearing on my station, as well as any artist that has music, but that doesn't have it connected to like Spotify, Apple Music. I can play your music because this site, they want to give the artists their royalties, so we can do play. We can play. You can get your royalties. You just have to give us the information so that said site can give you your royalties. So all music you will hear through my station is music that I've created and written myself using the AI song apps, different AI song apps. So I have jazz, I have reggae, I have reggaeton, I have salsa, merengue, I have R&B, I got hip hop. So I play all genres. You will be hearing some classical. This on this station will be the first time you would ever hear Road to Stardom Radio play some classical music. So I got gospel. So on Sundays throughout the day, you will hear the gospel music. We'll switch from gospel to jazz. Then it will go into that R&B. Then from the R&B, I'll probably do Caribbean, because I got all my Caribbean music together. So it'll be like a Caribbean vibe type of thing you will hear throughout the station. If you also are a person who does create music through AI, song song apps, you can send us your music and we'll play your music.
Absolutely. Well, of course, the caveat that the songs you're creating, you do have the licensing too. You do have that commercial license. Some of you create the stuff, and you may not necessarily have let's just say your song blows up. You know what I'm saying? And then
Hmm.
you like, okay, well, yeah, I created that, but if you don't have that commercial licensing or something to that effect, then that ain't your song for real. Now, the difference is, I know on my station in particular, right now, I just have my music on there, and I do have the licensing to all said songs because I paid for the platform. But for those of you, like I said, who are AI creatives and are doing AI music, we are definitely inviting you to send us your music to put as part of our platform so that you can have your music heard. And of course, we advertise here on the network, and our partners in the network will also advertise some of the stations, hopefully. I know Coach B and Queen Gemini definitely will. I got to discuss with others. But I'm liking this particular project. Will we go back to Live 365 at some point? I would like to. It's gonna be a little different when I do so. It's definitely gonna be during a time where I can actually afford to be on the platform long term, as opposed to piecemealing my way through it. But the beautiful thing
Hmm.
about Radio AI, the platform that me and Ro currently are working with, they do have a paid platform, man. And I might check that out eventually. But right now, the platform is free. So you yourself, if you just are an AI creator and you don't want to be bothered with nobody else and just want to have your own station all to you, you can do that as well. You simply go to www.rdioai. Remember, ain't no A in there, and it will prompt you as to how you can start your own free station. Remember, if you are going to use licensed music, as in music that people hear on the radio and whatnot, you have to have the rights to do so. It will tell
You
you
need
plain
all
to
the
say,
info.
do
Mm-hmm.
you accept whatever responsibility for whatever songs you playing? And if it find out that you don't got the light for it, we can zap you right on off the edge. The crazy part is I've been on this for 4 or 5 days. Two of them stations I listened to, they definitely was playing real music. Them stations gone already. Just like that. They is not playing.
So they have it where if you are part of ASCAP, BMI, or CSAT, where you put the ID so that of the music, so that when it's played, it'll read it off, and the artist will get their royalties. So if you don't have none of that information, you cannot play Jay-Z. You cannot play Mary J. Blige. You cannot play Beyonce. I know, because it's a free, people would like to use the free, you know, like I said, I was trying it out, but I like that I could play I have some way I could play my AI music, you know. But like I said, if said artist is part of ASCAP, you gotta have the ID number for ASCAP so that ASCAP can know you're playing their music and they can get their royalties.
Right. Now, the other thing that I definitely like about this platform also is that you can actually go live on the air. And it's not a big, gigantic scenario that you got to go through to make that happen. You could do that on
No.
Live 365, but you had to have certain equipments and certain programs and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
This one, all you simply got to do is have said microphone, like so, or you could even be on your phone. As long as you could hit microphone on the phone, you go live and you talking to the people just like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you go on there, you could go live for a few minutes. You can go live all day. Because keep in mind, if you don't want to have a radio, and you just want to have a talk radio station, you can do that
Mm-hmm.
by simply loading it down there. Again, it's www.rdioai.com, and you let them know, yeah, I'm just doing a talk. And the other beautiful thing about it is, unlike Live 365 that requires that you basically be a 24-hour station and have some type of auto DJ type setup or what have you, on radio
Mm-hmm.
AI, you do not have to. If you just want to do your station for a couple hours a day, you can set it up like that. If you want to set it up for 24/7, you can do that. If you wanted to have it to where it goes off at night or what have you, you can set it up that way, which I feel is pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yep. And what I like is that what what three live 365 doesn't have, what radio AI has, is fallback. So that, let's say you got a schedule block, let's say 2 in the morning to 6 in the morning. You put a block in and it's playing music. Once that schedule block ends of the music, whatever music you're playing, it has the fallback to where whatever your fallback music is, it'll play that, so you don't have dead air. And that's what Live 365 doesn't have. So if you don't have everything set up in Live 365 to where, let's say you forgot and you fell asleep and realized, oh shoot, my block went off and now there's dead air. Now you're scrambling to figure out what you're gonna play to get rid of that dead air. With this one, because it has the fallback setting where you make a folder of songs, it could be a multi of different genres, and it'll play that folder of those songs so that when that block finishes, you don't have dead air. That's what I like. And what's also what I like is you could create more than one station. So say like you a person who made you like R&B and hip hop, you could separate the two or have R&B and hip hop as one station. And say you want to do, let's say, country and pop, you can have another station that just plays country and pop. So you got two stations in one playing two different types of music. Oh, I don't hear you. You don't hear you. Oh, well, yeah. So if you're a person if you want to get into radio, if you said to yourself, I want to get into radio, this would be good for you to get into radio. You can use this app to get into radio since it's free. You could try it out, and if you like it, then you move up a stage to the paid platform of it. And they do have like Live 365 has auto DJ. They do have auto DJ. But if you're a free host, you only get the live auto DJ for 60 minutes. And then it regenerates to the next month, but you only get it for 60 minutes if you're free. If you're paid, I don't know. I think it's longer than that when you're paid, depending on which level, because they have the enterprise level. They have free. Then it's the next level, which was $59 a month, and then there was another one, and then the biggest one was the enterprise level. I don't need the enterprise level, and also you can with Live 365, you got the station ID, you got ads, you got jingles that you can add to the station. They have the
Mhm.
same thing there, but they also have it where you can use the app to make it. So you don't have to go fishing to find ads and stuff to add to your station. It has it right there on it that you can make it yourself. You prompt just like you do your songs in the AI. You prompt it what you wanted to say. You pick a voice, and the voice will say exactly what you wanted to say. And then if you like it, you download it. You don't even have to download it. There's a button where it'll go directly to your media library, and then you can put it in for your station.
And the beauty of that is you don't have to have the same voice all the time. You could program multiple voices that'll play throughout the day. And they also have it where they have a button where you can program news or weather. And basically it will
Hmm.
automatically be like, okay, this is the weather for Detroit for such and such a day, and in real time tell you the actual real weather without you having to put any input into it. It automatically does itself. Or if you want entertainment or regular news, it automatically tells you the news of the day. Again, you probably will get more of that with the paid subscription. Right now, because it's free, we working with that. Perhaps at some point, like I said, I might try to pay it out if I can afford it for a month and see how it go, and go from there.
Yeah. So if you're an artist, you don't have no music on DSPs, and you want to get airplay, you hit us up. Hit me up at roadtostardom2010 at gmail.com, and you can send me however many songs you want to get played. But this is when I was doing radio on another platform. I would always say send a bio. But being that this is AI music, you don't need a bio. You don't need a bio because it's AI music. You just need to give me make sure that the artist that the song has an artist name.
Right. I would tell you this for those of y'all sending music, and like I said, all those parameters fit you. As long as it ain't total complete crap, we will play it on the station, at least on my station. I will give it a shot.
Yeah, I play it,
Now, if it's
but
something really, really out there and whatnot, and I'm like, no, I probably ain't gonna play that. But anything in the regular realm, because like I said, both of these stations are variety stations, much like Road Station. I'm playing gospel, I'm playing jazz, I'm playing blues, I'm playing R&B, soul, pop. On my station, I'm also doing instrumentals for all of those as well. Plus, we trying to figure out how we gonna put some live broadcast into the weekly scenario. like the show that we're doing now, there'll probably be bits and pieces of those shows on my platform, and I might just go live at a certain time every day, every other day, and say what I'm gonna say. I don't know. We still figuring that part of it out. But at any rate,
Yeah.
again, Rhoda, I thank you for putting me up on the platform, and I also thank you for the commercial you made. Hopefully, you like how I enhanced it a little bit, and
Yeah.
we definitely will be playing that throughout the week on the network, so we get people checking in. I've already got like 20 people tuned in the last 4 days, so that ain't bad.
So since I've started, it says 42
All
people.
right, all right.
And also, what we didn't mention that they do for the host, just in case if you want to be a host, they have goals. So they have bronze. If you hit 1K, you get like a bronze, say bronze medal. You hit another certain number, you get silver, gold. It goes every time you hit a milestone, they give you like a medal. And I like that because 365 don't do that.
Right, and of course, we probably could set it up to where we have some way where if you want to help out with the station and help us get to the paid platform, and whatnot, we'll put the cash app or whatever, and want to contribute a dollar here, dollar,
And also, if you want to be a host, if you don't want to create your own stage, but you still want to be a host, there's a way we can make you a team member and you could be a host on the station.
absolutely. So yeah, like I said, just hit us up. Again, you can hit us up on the Messenger or on Facebook or Instagram. We both have those platforms. And again, if y'all just want to check out the stations, you can go to my page, Road to Stardom's page, and the links are there. Also, I would just tell you, like I said, if you go to www.rdioai.com, it will take you to the site. You then will look up Road to Stardom Radio or eBuck Radio, and you will find us there.
You can also, once you put in the website address, if you put the slash at the end, mine is RTSR. That's Road to Stardom Radio. I didn't want to write out the whole word, so I just put RTSR. eBucks is eBuck 88. So you just put the slash, put eBuck 88. It'll take you to the station,
We'll take you right
and
there.
then you hear the music.
Right, and then there should be a way where you can save it to your phone or whatever, and then at that point on, you got it. But yep, hopefully y'all guys like it and check it out. And that's all I got to say, Road. The floor is yours.
So I'm gonna say peace, one love. I appreciate y'all for tuning in to Speaking Freely with Msgigo. We'll be back next Sunday with more great topics. Another What Would You Do moment. So every What Would You Do moment is gonna be a new scenario. I would love for y'all to chime in and let me know what y'all would do in those situations. If you ever been in that situation, you can share your story, and we'll discuss that. So we'll see you next week for another Speaker Freely with Miss Gecko. And then, like I said, Tuesday is the indie experience, and my guest will be Six Eyes, a music producer slash radio host. I don't say man of many talents that you will get to learn about on Tuesday at 10 on the Indie Experience podcast. And we're going to hear some music that he's created. And the one that I like that he's created is the one for his girlfriend called Angela. That's one of my favorites of his that he's done, because that shocked me to hear that, and like I didn't know he write. He produces, he does voiceover, he does, like I say, a man in many hats, and I didn't know he could write. He's a songwriter, and that one he wrote called Angela is a real nice song that may I before the night is over, I think I'm gonna share it so y'all can click. If you follow me on my Facebook, I will share it with y'all on Facebook, and y'all can listen to his song called Angela. So we are out of here, man. See you next time. Peace.
I love speaking freely so the masses can hear what I have to say about different topics that plague my mind every day.